Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master Coin Collectors, Curious Minds, Treasure Hunters, and History Lovers. Today we bring you a story that might just change the way you look at loose change forever. In a world where most people pass over pennies without a second thought, one single coin, a small 2061-cent piece from the United States, has shattered all expectations and climbed to a jaw-dropping estimated value of $120 million. That's right, just 1 cent that turned into $120 million. How did this happen? What could possibly make a coin so small and so common become one of the most valuable collectibles in the entire world? Sit back, because the answer is more fascinating, mysterious, and unexpected than you can imagine. The 2060 Lincoln cent, part of a coin series that has been around for over a century, was never expected to break any records. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin was part of the billions produced that year. Nothing about it at first glance seemed unusual. It had the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the historic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and the D mint mark, indicating it was produced in Denver. Like the other countless copper-plated zinc cents minted that year, it weighed approximately 2.5 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Everything seemed ordinary. Until it wasn't. Our story begins when a collector at a flea market in Colorado stumbled upon an old jar of coins being sold as part of a garage sale. This wasn't uncommon. Many people sell jars of coins thinking they're just spare change. But among these coins, one glimmered just a little differently under the afternoon sun. Its color was off, its rim looked thicker than usual, and its details seemed oddly sharp. The collector, experienced in numismatics, purchased the entire jar for a few dollars, thinking there might be something interesting to explore. Back home, he examined the coins under a magnifying glass. Most were regular issues, worn, scratched, or average. But that one penny, the 2060, stood out immediately. The rim was doubled, with a strange overlapping appearance. The portrait of Lincoln showed a faint second image just offset from the original. The letters "In God We Trust" seemed to have extra thickness and ghostly shadows beneath them. Most astonishing of all was the mint mark. The D was doubled and misaligned, almost appearing like two different mint marks struck separately. Was it a fake, a manipulated novelty coin, or had he stumbled upon something genuinely rare? What came next was a deep investigation, one that would span years and involve some of the world's top coin grading services and numismatic experts. This single coin was sent to PCGS for professional grading and analysis. The moment they examined it under high-powered microscopes, the buzz began to spread. What they found was an absolutely astonishing combination of multiple minting errors that, when combined, created a truly one-of-a-kind piece. Not only did the coin show clear and dramatic doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides, a phenomenon known as a double die, but it also displayed unusual metal composition traces, suggesting a possible planchet mix-up. This meant that somehow, this penny had been struck using a blank intended for another coin. How could this happen? The U.S. Mint is known for its rigorous quality control and automated processes. Yet, like any human endeavor, errors do slip through. Sometimes these are minor, an off-center strike, a faint die crack, a tiny variation in the engraving. But in rare and remarkable cases, multiple errors occur at once, creating a coin that is unlike anything else. These so-called compound errors are not just rare, they're nearly impossible. A double die error combined with a wrong planchet strike and a misaligned mint mark all in one coin is the equivalent of hitting the lottery jackpot. It defies odds, logic, and expectations. Further metallurgical testing revealed that the coin had traces of nickel and manganese, metals not used in the standard 2006 cent composition. This suggested that it may have been struck on a leftover planchet from a different denomination or from an experimental batch that was never meant to enter circulation. Was this a test strike that escaped the mint? Was it a mule coin, created when mismatched dies were accidentally paired together? The possibilities were endless, and the mystery only deepened the intrigue. Collectors began speculating that this coin was a result of a so-called midnight strike, a term used when mint employees intentionally or accidentally strike coins outside standard procedures, sometimes using experimental dies or planchets. While this practice is strictly against regulations, it has happened before, and the coins that emerge from such events are often highly coveted. Whether this particular 2060 penny was the result of an accident or something more clandestine, one thing was certain: it was unique. What made the value skyrocket even further was its condition. Despite the fact that it had been in circulation, or at least among other coins, it was graded MS-68, nearly a perfect mint state. This meant that it had very few blemishes, retained sharp details, and had original luster. Finding a high-grade coin is rare. Finding a high-grade error coin is rarer still. But finding a one-of-a-kind, never-before-seen error coin in pristine condition is nearly unheard of. Once the word spread in numismatic circles, the coin was featured in magazines, websites, forums, and exhibitions. Coin World called it the find of the century. Professional numismatists called it the Lincoln cent to end all Lincoln cents. At an exclusive auction, several bidders competed fiercely for the coin, pushing the price higher and higher. Ultimately, a private collector from the Middle East secured the winning bid, $120 million. Not only did this set a record for the most valuable 1-cent coin ever sold, it also placed it among the most valuable coins of any denomination, anywhere in the world. But let's dive deeper into the specific errors that made this coin so valuable, because that's where the real story lies. First, the doubling. A true double die error happens when the die itself is misaligned or rotated between hubbings. This creates a permanent doubling on the die, and every coin struck by it shows the same doubled features. In this case, the 2060 penny showed extreme doubling on Lincoln's eye, ear, nose, and jawline. The word Liberty appeared almost as if stamped twice. The date, 2006, was clearly doubled, and even the mint mark had a shadowy echo. This wasn't a minor die deterioration doubling, this was the real deal. Then there's the planchet error. Most 2006 pennies are struck on zinc planchets with a thin copper coating. This one, however, had higher than normal weight and unusual density readings. Spectroscopy revealed that it contained a significant amount of nickel and manganese, metals commonly found in dollar coins, not pennies. This strongly indicated a planchet mix-up. Somehow, a blank meant for a different denomination had made its way into the penny production line. Next, we have the misaligned die strike. Instead of being centered, the strike was slightly off, resulting in a thicker rim on one side and weaker details on the other. While misaligned strikes are not extremely rare, when combined with other significant errors, they add to a coin's uniqueness and desirability. Finally, the mint mark anomaly. Mint marks are normally punched separately, but in this coin, the D was struck twice in slightly different locations, creating a doubled appearance. What made it even stranger was that one of the D marks appeared to have a different font style, leading to speculation that two different mint mark punches were used, a very rare occurrence. Even more peculiar was the appearance of faint die cracks extending from the rim into Lincoln's hair and shoulder. These cracks are signs of a stressed or deteriorating die and, in the context of this coin, added to the list of anomalies. Some observers even noted a so-called cud on the reverse, an area near the Lincoln Memorial where extra metal appeared due to a break in the die.so. What does this all mean for coin collectors and the general public? It means that treasures are still out there. It means that even in a world of mass production, individual errors and anomalies can create items of immense value. It means that sometimes, the most overlooked objects, the coins we pass over without a second glance, can hold secrets worth millions. It also highlights the importance of knowledge. The collector who discovered this coin wasn't just lucky. He had spent years learning, observing, reading, and handling coins. He knew what to look for, and when he saw something unusual, he took the time to investigate. That's a lesson for all of us. In any hobby, expertise turns chance into opportunity. The 2060 penny that sold for $120 million has now become a legend. It's on display in a private museum, with security and climate control systems worthy of a crown jewel. Its image has been circulated around the world, featured in news reports, documentaries, and even museum catalogs. It's more than a coin now. It's a symbol of the unexpected value that lies hidden in plain sight, and even though this particular coin is unique, it inspires a broader movement. People are now looking through their change more closely. They're dusting off old coin jars, examining pennies from different years, and learning how to spot the telltale signs of valuable errors. In some ways, this one coin has reinvigorated interest in coin collecting for a new generation. So, what should you do if you think you might have a valuable coin like this? First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can drastically reduce its value. Keep it in a safe, dry place and handle it carefully, preferably with gloves. Then, compare it to K. Today, we're diving into the unbelievable story of a simple yet extraordinary coin, the 2011 United States 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Shield cent. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny, bearing the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse. But hidden among the billions minted that year, a tiny number of these coins have shocked collectors and experts alike. Why? Because of rare and mind-blowing mint errors, anomalies, and production mishaps that catapult their value to stratospheric levels. In fact, one of these error coins is believed to be worth as much as $100 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin with a face value of just 1 cent potentially carrying a market value of $100 million. This isn't fantasy or science fiction. It's rooted in the captivating world of numismatics, where history, metallurgy, minting precision, and human error collide to create once-in-a-lifetime collectibles. And today, you're going to discover exactly what makes this 2011 Lincoln penny so extraordinarily valuable, the kinds of mint errors that could justify such a price tag, and how you could be the next person to discover one of these hidden gems. The 2011 penny is part of the Lincoln Shield cent series, which began in 2010 following the bicentennial and four-design reverse celebration of Lincoln's birth in 2009. The obverse retained the iconic Victor David Brenner design of Lincoln's bust, while the reverse featured a Union shield with 13 vertical stripes joined by a horizontal bar, symbolizing unity, federal strength, and the preservation of the United States as one nation. The coin itself is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating, a composition that has been in place since 1982. Over 4.9 billion of these pennies were struck in 2011 at the Philadelphia Mint, with another 2.5 billion at the Denver Mint. A comparatively smaller number were struck at the San Francisco Mint for proof sets. That's a mind-boggling number of coins, billions, and yet, hidden among them, lies a handful of pennies that are entirely unlike the rest. These aren't just slightly off-center strikes or double-die errors that occasionally fetch a few $100 or $1,000. No, we're talking about major, extraordinary, once-in-a-century mistakes that occurred due to freak coincidences, failed mint procedures, die alignment catastrophes, or unprecedented transitional planchet issues. Mistakes so rare and bizarre that they've triggered national and international bidding wars among collectors and institutions. One such legendary error is the so-called 2011 transitional planchet bronze error, where instead of using the standard copper-plated zinc composition, a few coins were mistakenly struck on older bronze planchets, possibly left over from the pre-1982 era or from experimental stock mistakenly fed into the coining press. A coin of this nature would instantly stand out to an expert due to its weight, color, and sound. The bronze planchet creates a richer tone when dropped, a heavier feel in the hand, and a darker patina over time. And because it's made of about 95% copper, such a coin also carries intrinsic metal value. But the real kicker is its rarity. Only a few such errors have been authenticated from previous years, and a verified 2011 bronze cent would be the only known example of its kind. With just a single known coin in existence, the value to collectors skyrockets. This isn't just about rarity, it's about uniqueness. When only one coin exists with a specific error, it becomes the ultimate collectible, the holy grail for numismatists. Now let's talk about doubled dies. These are among the most exciting and visually dramatic errors a collector can hope to find. A doubled die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment between impressions from the hub, resulting in a duplication of design elements. This can manifest in multiple images of letters, numbers, or even parts of the portrait. One such 2011 cent reportedly showed doubling so dramatic on Lincoln's eye and the letters, Liberty, and In God We Trust, that it was immediately pulled from circulation by an observant collector and later authenticated by a major grading service. The doubling was crisp, clean, and obvious without the need for a magnifying glass. That level of clarity in an error is extremely rare, and it raised speculation that it was the result of a completely unreported double die variety created from a die that somehow escaped detection at the mint. That coin, slabbed and certified by PCGS with a high MS grade, is said to have attracted private offers in the multi-million-dollar range. Now imagine if a similar coin showed doubling not only on the obverse but also on the reverse, a double-sided double die error. That would be almost unheard of. Some experts have theorized that if such a coin were found from the 2011 series, it could easily break all existing records for modern penny value, potentially reaching the $100 million threshold in the right auction setting, especially if it were a lone survivor. Then there's the elusive, wrong planchet error, a coin struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. Imagine a 2011 penny struck on a dime or nickel planchet. These errors typically escape mint quality control because they can look superficially normal in size but reveal their true nature under measurement and weight inspection. The 2011 1-cent struck on a dime planchet, for example, would weigh significantly less than expected and show a complete or partial lack of the rim design due to the smaller surface area. If struck on a nickel planchet, the coin would have a silver color and heavier weight, creating a clear mismatch that only a trained eye might catch. But even more astonishing are the so-called multi-strike errors. These occur when a coin is struck more than once, either intentionally during minting die adjustments or accidentally due to die sticking or planchet jams. A 2011 penny with 3 or more visible strikes, each at a distinct angle, with overlapping images of Lincoln and the Shield, would be a showstopper at any major auction. Such coins are almost artwork in themselves, chaotic, fragmented echoes of the minting process caught forever in metal. Combine that with a rare mint mark, for instance, a Denver Mint coin showing a shadowed or misplaced S mark suggesting an origin at San Francisco, and you have an enigma that collectors would pay nearly any price to possess. Another intriguing variant involves die cap errors, where the coin becomes stuck to the die and continues striking multiple blank planchets, leaving impressions that become increasingly distorted and ghost-like with each strike. A 2011 penny with a well-preserved die cap error, especially if it affected more than one planchet and left behind a chain of ghost impressions, would be a numismatic time capsule. No two such errors are identical, and each tells a unique story about what happened inside the minting chamber on that particular day. Let's not forget about off-center strikes. While minor off-centering is relatively common, major off-center errors, say, a 2011 penny struck 70% off-center with only a small visible portion of Lincoln's profile and an otherwise blank flan, are incredibly scarce. If this coin still includes the date and mint mark, it's exponentially more valuable, because attribution is possible. Now imagine such an error combined with another error type, such as a clipped planchet or broad strike. The value multiplies again. Another speculative but exciting possibility is a 2011 cent that shows an overstrike, where an already struck coin is mistakenly fed back through the press and struck again, possibly with a die from a different denomination or even a different year. If a 2011 penny were found with elements of a 2009 design overlapping the Shield design, collectors would clamor for ownership, not just due to the visual impact but also for the historical intrigue it offers. How did this happen? What does it tell us about quality control during those minting years? And then there are the mystery varieties. These are coins with anomalies that don't neatly fit into known error categories but clearly show unique and unexplainable features: partial plating, ghost images, burnished finishes, or unreported reverse design elements like doubling or even missing components. Some 2011 pennies have reportedly shown signs of incomplete copper plating, leaving behind silvery streaks or patches on the surface. If such a coin is in high grade and confirmed to be an original mint error and not post-mint damage, its rarity and value climbs substantially. Authentication is everything in this world. Coins like these must be carefully examined, weighed, measured, and tested by respected grading companies like PCGS, NGC, or ANAX. Only then can the true value be determined. Once authenticated, rarity, condition, and visual impact determine market worth. And while many errors fetch hundreds or thousands, the extremely rare and unique ones, especially those from modern years like 2011, can potentially shatter all expectations. A single verified example of a perfect storm of errors, Let's say a 2011 bronze transitional planchet, with a double strike, off-center, and a misplaced mint mark, could literally become the most valuable Lincoln cent ever recorded. The $100 million figure may sound outrageous, but in the context of rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance, it becomes a plausible outlier in the auction world. Private collectors and institutions alike compete aggressively for such rarities, and coin markets are known for sudden bidding wars that send prices soaring. The tale of the 2011 1-cent coin serves as a reminder that treasure often hides in plain sight. You could be holding history in your